All right, ladies and gentlemen, DSP here, and welcome to part 2 of Ask the King, episode 77 for July 25th, 2019. If you're watching this on YouTube and you haven't seen part 1 yet, it should be available right here on this channel, so give it a look. If you're watching on stream, welcome back. Just a reminder, I am still answering forum and Twitter questions, but at one point I will open this up more to an open forum for the stream chatters. Okay? All right, let's continue on. The next question, excuse me, is by Cody Carls. And Cody Carls says the following. He says, Phil, you mentioned recently on a stream that you were pulled over by the police for following a friend home, but you didn't want to explain the whole story at the time. I don't recall ever hearing this story. Could you possibly elaborate? It's not a very complex story. When I was a teenager / in my early 20s, I had friends who were into Street Fighter and the like. Some of them were real cool, and some of them were assholes. What can you do? I had one friend who owned a, oh God, what was it? I'm trying to remember what kind of car it was, because at the time, late 90s, early 2000s, it was considered like a nicer car for a kid to have. I can't 100% remember what car it was, okay? But anyway, so I was following him because he was going somewhere. We were going somewhere together. I think it was someone's house or something, probably to play Street Fighter. And he decided, because he's a hot shot in his nice new car, he's going to fly down the roads and weave around the streets or whatever. Now, keep in mind, this was before the era of GPS. It wasn't like I could use a GPS to find the address of where I was going. I had to follow him. And he was basically doing this to be a complete asshole. He was like, oh, watch, I'll lose him or whatever. This will be funny, right? So I'm doing my best to try to stay behind him and not get lost in these side streets and stuff that he's going. All of a sudden, he pulls out in front of this store. I think it was a Home Depot, if I remember correctly. And he blows the light. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. So I blew the light. Woo! A cop alarm or a cop siren goes off. I look behind me. I was like, of course. I'm stuck now because this asshole did this. I'm the one who gets in trouble, right? So I got pulled over, and the cop, looked me up and down. He's a license and registration, handed it over. And he says, you know what you did wrong, right? I said, yeah, if you really want to know, I'll tell you. I don't know if you really care why I did it, So he's looking everything over, and he goes to his car, he calls it in, comes back about, a couple minutes later. He goes, all right, he goes, listen, you don't have any record or nothing. You never had a ticket. I'm going to let you go with a warning this time, but you know what you did. You blew the light. Don't do it again, all right? I said, okay, fair enough, officer. Thank you very much. And that was it. Of course, then when I finally found out where the hell my friend had gone, I gave him shit for it. I was like, what are you, a fucking asshole? I almost got, a giant ticket because you're a dickhead. But I don't remember, that's it. It's nothing very complex or interesting, okay? Okay. Continuing on. The next question is from The Warlord, 2K50. Pretty long question, so prepare yourselves, guys, all right? All right. The next question goes as follows. He says, first of all, I really feel like I have lost my love for gaming. Uh-oh. I've been what many people class as a gamer since 2007. I was only 6 years old at the time. However, I feel that over the last year or two, I've slowly become disinterested in what modern gaming has to offer. I've switched consoles multiple times during the current generation, and I feel as though what we've been promised by the world and told everything that we want to hear, but the promises never materialized. I mean, my Xbox One is essentially a YouTube and a TV hub at this point, and I have a range of games in my backlog that I hardly play anymore. I let my sister play Fortnite a lot of the time because I don't care. I read and I watch some videos on how this isn't down to game devs anymore. It's the publishers that are forcing the devs to add micro DLCs to make them extra money. For example, take a look at Middle-earth Shadow of War, Anthem, or Destiny. Bungie were popping the champagne when they parted ways with Activision. My rambling aside, what do you think about the current state of gaming? Do you think there's even a point in making next-gen consoles if the games that we're getting will more than likely be half-baked at best and will have microtransactions as a requirement to even save our progress? Oh wait, Konami actually already did that with Metal Gear Survive. All right. Whew. I mean, there's a lot to digest there. Essentially what the Warlord is saying is, as a young gamer, because he's probably 18 years old, 19 years old, even he's become disillusioned with gaming. Because a lot of people say this is me. Oh, it's Phil he's an old fart. And that's why he criticizes these practices in gaming, and he's disillusioned with gaming. He's an old fart. Young people still like gaming. This guy is 18, 19 years old. And he's basically saying, Even I'm disillusioned with gaming. You know what I mean? I hear you. A lot of things that he's mentioning here are definitely resounding with some of the problems we've had with major releases in the last year. I mean, in the last year, we've had these ginormous AAA great release. Oh, Fallout 76, Anthem, they're going to be so good. And they come out and they're like lackluster, unfinished, glitchy, microtransactions out the fucking asshole, pieces of garbage. And it's sad because you hear story after story. Oh, it wasn't us. You know, we actually wanted to make a great game, but the fucking publisher kept telling us to do this and do this and do this. And we, you know, the story of Anthem, if you read it, is like a tragedy. Here's a game studio, BioWare, who's known for making robust single-player experiences, and we're literally told by their publisher, make a multiplayer experience that's co-op. And they're like, but we have all these great ideas for a narrative experience that's going to be just as good as Mass Effect or other games we made before. No, just make a co-op shooter. And then they would even say to them, but that's kind of like Destiny. We don't want to do it. You're not making Destiny. Don't ever say Destiny. Anthem is not Destiny. You're making something different. Don't bring that up. Make something that's good and not Destiny. But it's, even though it is Destiny, it's the same game. It's not Destiny. It's like, what the fuck, man? Like, I hear you. How could you have a studio like BioWare that we know is so capable of making amazing games put out with a fucking piece of shit like Anthem? It's a sad. The state of gaming is sad. And I also agree with Warlord. I really feel this last console generation, the PS4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, kind of era, has been incredibly underwhelming. Every year, maybe 5 outstanding games, and everything else is like fucking shovelware, just made to make a buck. Sure, if you play it with a friend and you do a co-op experience, it's passable, but these are not must-play gameplay experiences that are going to resonate with you for a long time. What happened to the BioShocks? What happened to the Uncharteds? What happened to the big epic fucking RPGs? And you know what I mean? We're not getting those anymore. We're getting these lackluster titles that are utterly forgettable and made primarily just to make $1 rather than to make an artistic experience that's going to live with you, you know, for decades to come, and you're going to always harken back to those times when you played those awesome games. I could probably tell you 20, 30 amazing console experiences last console gen, and I could barely name any this console gen. And I hear you. Just in particular, and I'm serious about this now, and I would like some stream chat interaction here. In the last year, can you name what great games there have been? I would argue God of War, okay, Red Dead Redemption 2, probably the Resident Evil 2 remake. I would say Metro Exodus probably was quite good. Dragon Quest 11. Some people would probably argue Monster Hunter World. All right, but you see what I mean? Like, now I'm starting to struggle. Oh, okay, all right, Spider-Man. I agree with that one. Spider-Man was quite a good one. Devil May Cry, I disagree. I think it was just okay. I don't think it was great. A lot of people are saying Crash Team Racing. I mean, not my cup of tea, but okay, if you guys think Crash Team Racing was amazing, fair enough. See, Days Gone, It the Boss King, that is not something that people have a consensus on. A lot of people liked the story and hated the gameplay. Sekiro and then with Kappa Face after Sekiro. See what I mean? Like, see how hard this is? What is going on with modern gaming? And the thing is, it's not, oh, well, this is because there's not enough games. No, there's a ridiculous amount of games that have come out. They're just not good. You see, this is like such a different dichotomy. Back in the day, it used to be all the games were good, but there weren't that many. Now it's like there's just too many fucking games and none of them are good. So I could totally go along with the Warlord sentiment that gaming in the modern era is very disappointing. In addition to that, he's right. Certain practices like season passes, DLCs, and microtransactions are ruining games that otherwise would be outstanding. A Middle-earth Shadow of War was a really good game that most people skipped because they heard the game had microtransactions that ruined the end. And you know what? It kind of did. You know, once you got to that final segment of the game that was completely superfluous and didn't even need to be in the fucking game, it should have just ended. You then had to either grind like crazy for 30 hours or pay money to buy troops to beat the end of the game. It was so stupid. And it's just becoming more and more and more of a games as a service rather than sell a game that's a robust experience. Thank God we do have studios such as Sony Santa Monica, that made God of War, and they said, we're not making a game as a service, we're not doing DLCs, we're making one fucking amazing game to make tons of money, and we'll make the next one after, and we're abiding by that tried and true formula that really is a contract between the gamer. You pay us, we give you that robust experience in full, fully functioning on day one, not that you're a beta tester, even though you paid $60. You see, there's so much going on in modern gaming that's just bad. And sadly, I hate to say this, there's two things. Number one, games have now become big business, and since games are now the most profitable thing out there, companies are getting into it just to make a dollar. You see what I mean? It used to be, oh, we're gonna take a gamble at making a really great game, and if it ends up being great, that's amazing. Now our lives are changed because our company's popular and we make tons of money. Now it's like, we're investors and we're going into this with money to make money. We don't even care if the game we make is good or anyone cares about it, but we need to make money. So let's follow a formula. Let's play it safe and do what everyone else has done. Make money. Follow that formula that makes money. And see what I mean? That doesn't work when you have too many games doing the same. When every game is a co-op looter shooter, when every game is a fucking battle royal game, that doesn't work anymore. It's lack of innovation, lack of risk taking, and instead just trying to do something to make a quick buck. The other thing is, this always seems to happen in an industry that becomes just out of its infancy and now is becoming more mature. This happened with movies, this happened with music, this happened with television. Any entertainment medium, once it evolves from that infancy, which is now happening with games, and gets to the level where now it could be big business and now it's taken seriously, all of a sudden you get this stagnation period, okay? Being very, very honest, with all of you guys, I agree with the Warlord that these last few years have not been, oh my God, outstanding years for games. I mean, if there were, just think about it this way, if it were outstanding years for overall releases of games, I wouldn't even need chill streams. I would have so many great AAA releases to play at all times. We would need, let's do a chill stream where we just hang out and talk and interact, because I'd be so busy with crazy-ass, great, high-profile releases, we wouldn't have time for that shit. But it's the opposite now. I skip a lot of the big, high-profile games because they're all shitty. So it's very different from how it used to be just 5-6 years ago when I was a full-time YouTuber, how things have changed, right? So that being said, I would say, is this do we really need to be completely and utterly cynical? Do we really need to become so turned off to games that now we feel like it's an industry that it doesn't matter anymore? No, I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I think it's easy to become cynical. Especially, I hate to say it, especially when you got a lot of people out there who are constantly making negative stories about this kind of shit to get attention for themselves. Oh, how do I get an attention grab today on YouTube? I'll make a video about how modern gaming is terrible and everything's bad, and ignoring all the good things about modern gaming, which is fucked up too. It's just equally fucked up just to get attention for yourself. But I would say, yeah, in general, I agree with you, and we as gamers, all right, need to step up and realize that if we support these terrible practices, if we support games that have these crazy nickel and diming practices, these games as a service games, all right, we're going to have more of them. And that's the problem, is when you support Destiny, when you buy Destiny 1, you see what it is, then you buy all the DLCs, then you buy Destiny 2, then you buy all the Destiny 2 DLCs, you will continue to have that fucking model going forward. You can't support those games if that's something you don't like, but people buy into the hype and get mindlessly blinded. I need to be a part of this next looter shooter, this next fad. I need to keep doing it. And you're just going to be part of the problem, I've made it an actual active an active thing on my content creation in the last 2 years. If I see a game that I think is not valid and not worth anyone's time, I will skip it. Even if it's a big, high-profile AAA release and I get shit for skipping it, I don't care. I'm not going to waste my time and money on it. I'm not going to support those kind of practices. I refuse, So, there you go. Okay. All right. Let's continue on. Actually, let's see here. Nightwing Cheery says, to be fair, though, good graphics must really drain the resources. I do not know, though. I'm kind of retarded. Probably not nice to say that about yourself. Philly Buckeye Cheer said Bioshock Infinite was a great game that was one of the top 2-3 games of the year when it came out, and it was the most commercially successful game of the series in sales. The studio was shut down because it didn't make enough money. That's why we don't get those games anymore. Even 5 years back, a AAA selling 6 million copies can come up short in sales like Tomb Raider. Publisher greed and bloated budgets are why we don't get Bioshock tier games anymore. Terrible. Also, shout out to Zevgor, who has subscribed to the channel. Thank you very much. Okay, let's continue on. Oh, that's it for that page. Next question is from We Stream No Games. Okay, he says the following. I think he had two completely different questions. All right, first one is, if you had the choice of switching from being a gamer, YouTuber, streamer to a completely different genre of YouTuber, streamer, what would you be if you were making the same amount of money? I don't know. That's a tough question because, you know, gaming has been a part of my life since the 80s. You know, arguably the only other thing that was kind of like a major part of my life was like comic books and comic book collection and that kind of stuff. And yeah, I watch movies and TV, but it's more of a casualized thing. I guess you could also argue pro wrestling is something that's been a part of my life. But when you really look at what could you do on YouTube as you know, a content creator, I don't think wrestling would be enough. Like, I could literally do a commentary show on every wrestling show a week. Raw, SmackDown, NXT, NXT UK, 205 Live, the pay-per-views, Impact Wrestling / whatever they're called these days, AEW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and even doing a show on all of those, I don't think that's enough. Like, that wouldn't be enough to support a business. You know what I mean? I don't think that doing you know what I mean? Like what else would I do besides gaming? I honestly don't know. I tell you this, it wouldn't be politics. A lot of people said, Phil, we want your political opinions and things over the years. You seem like an intelligent guy, and your opinions could maybe be really interesting takes on stuff. I wouldn't want to do it. Like, politics, I could stomach it for about 10 minutes a day, and then that's about it. Like, I can't do it anymore. Like, I see the gross shit that people do out there with politics, attacking each other, just being fucking ridiculous, and I just can't take it. I can't, like, that. To me, politics is like grown-ups drama. You know what I mean? Like, on YouTube, there's kiddie drama. Oh, this YouTuber said this about this YouTuber. Did you hear what that guy said about that guy? This guy did this behind the scenes, this, that guy, and blah, blah, blah. Adult politics. Oh, did you hear what this senator said about this guy and that guy? It's like, get the fuck out of here, man. Like, I can't deal with this. I can't. I'm not. It's grown-up kiddie shit is what it is a lot of the time. And that's why I'm not going to deal with it. I'm not going to get into these big arguments about it, you know. It's too polarizing. People can't deal with another opinion that's not the same as theirs. They get so fucking uppity and pissed at each other, you know. So all that being said, I don't even know. I mean, that's an interesting question, Restream No Games. I don't even think there would be anything viable that would be like something that I could do as a YouTuber or streamer per se that wouldn't be gaming. People like to hear me talk, but not constantly. Like, you want something you want gaming as that glue that brings everything together for me. You see what I mean? I don't know what else it would be. So, all right, your second question from We Stream No Games. He says, you used to make a lot of lewd jokes when you played video games, but now you seem to have swayed away from that kind of stuff in your commentary and gameplay. Is that from just maturing with age or getting married or a bit of both? Well, there's a lot of factors involved here. All right, you got to remember something about when I started on YouTube. It was the wild west of content creation back then. The rules were so open and lax. I mean, yeah, they basically didn't want you doing insanely graphic content, but as long as there was no like blatant sexual nudity and stuff, you could say and do whatever the hell you wanted back then. There was no one who was going to complain and get you in trouble for insulting someone else or never. Like, that was unheard of. Okay, you're absolutely right. In particular, back then on YouTube, I was a very lewd guy. Any chance that I had to reference a girl's boobs or sex or a guy's big dick or raging hormones or anything that was very immature or whatever, I would take that opportunity, take the low-hanging fruit, because I knew that a lot of my audience at that time were younger, impressionable adults, and that's the kind of stuff they were looking for. How did I know that? Because I used to be a huge fan of the Angry Video Game Nerd. And every other word out of his face is ass, balls, tits, and dicks. You know what I mean? Like, everything he said was just incredibly over-the-top, crazy debauchery. I still remember one of the best quotes he ever did. He's reviewing Dragon's Lair on the NES, and he was like, what if you were in a river of piss, right? And above you there was a bridge where everyone was taking a shit. He says, what do? Do you hold your nose and jump in and just go wholeheartedly under the piss, or do you put your head above the air and take on the shit? And I was like, oh my God, like, I laughed my ass off, don't get me wrong. I just remember the Bugs Bunny's birthday blowout episode where he takes a shit on Bugs Bunny. Liquid shit squirts all over Bugs Bunny on camera. I was like, God damn, that was funny as fuck, but it was so, like, over-the-top, lewd, crazy humor. And that's kind of the thing that was big back then. So when I started on YouTube, that was me. That was the guy who no holds barred. I would say anything, do anything, whether it was sexual, whether it was racial, you know what I mean? I was the potty mouth guy who did this kind of over-the-top crazy commentary on video games. And that's what made me a household name at the time for video game videos on YouTube. That's the guy who just does that hilarious commentary over any game. He's a guy who feels like when you're playing, you're sitting next to him on the couch and he's just a hilarious fucking guy, right? But over the years, things changed. For example, I started doing it not as a hobby anymore, but as for a professional thing. This is my job now. So I need to make sure that what I'm doing is kosher via terms of service or whatever. I can't just have my channel shut down and now I can't make a living anymore, right? At the same time, people get tired of that stuff. You know what I mean? Like, people get tired of the same fucking formula every single time. Much like how over the years I was a huge fan of the Angry Video Game Nerd, and then I started getting tired of his stuff because it's the same thing, right? Same thing with me. You have to innovate, you have to change, you have to evolve, you have to do things differently for changing over time to mix things up, but also for a different audience. And for me, like, I realized, I'd say probably around the years of, say, 2013, 2014, things that I needed to change, because now I had done this style of commentary for many, many, many years, and people were tired of it. They were calling me the dinosaur of YouTube, the guy who refuses to change and evolve and innovate, and instead just wants to do the same fucking thing every single day. And it took me a long time to admit that I had to change for the better, all right? Now, at the same time, all right, at the very same time, things were changing in the realm of content creation. I was becoming a direct capture and live streaming. I started streaming on Twitch, and even back then, Twitch was much more lenient. I don't think I ever got into trouble with Twitch ever for anything I said or did on Twitch, okay? But essentially, all right, I'd say probably it was around 2017 that a lot of things were changing for me. My personal life changed in a very big way, as many of you know. I found myself at a crossroads in my life, looking at everything that I was doing and saying, what kind of a person did I want to be moving forward? Did I want to change? Did I want to be the same person? What was I going to do? Work-wise, things had to change, because work-wise, I wasn't able to do YouTube full-time for a living anymore, because the whole ad revenue bottom fell out from the site, and I now had to adapt full-time streaming. And I knew that on Twitch, if I was going to make a living on Twitch, things were going to be very different. I was going to have to adjust to their terms, as new terms of service changes and the things that they wanted to say and do and propagate as a site as well. And essentially, I'll be very honest with all of you as well. All right, the last 2 years of my life being amazing with Kat, my now wife, but who I was dating for a while, and it was my fiance for a while. It changed things too, because when you get into that really serious part of your life, you're like, man, I now am 37 years old. I have a beautiful wife who I have a great life with behind the scenes here, outside of what I do on stream. And 10 years ago when I was a single guy, and it was the lewd guy who said stupid over-the-top shit, making constant sexual references, playing games where you have simulated girlfriends and stupid shit like that. At one point in my life, that made sense, and it was definitely the kind of content that I created. I'll openly admit it, okay? In addition, there's an audience for that shit. Younger guys, younger kids. I'll be very honest. If you ever notice, whenever I play a very Japanese-centric game, even today I'm playing Judgment, right? Oh, you could have a simulated girlfriend in a game. You go to the hostess club and do that. They still put that shit in their games because there's actually a wide audience of consumers in Japan who like that shit, okay? I'm not one of them anymore. I'm just not. So for me, I don't need to worry. That's like the last thing I care about when I'm playing Judgment. There's so much other cool shit to do in Judgment, right? Outside of that stupid stuff. But people still, Phil, are you going to go get the simulated girlfriend? Are you going to go to the hostess club? No. If I want that kind of stuff, I go do it in real life with my wife. I'm not going to have stupid, who's your waifu in a game? I don't fucking need that. I have a real wife in real life. I don't have a fucking waifu. I don't need to have fantasy shit on the side. In fact, I hate to say it, if you have fantasy shit constantly on the side and you're married or you have a significant other, it probably means your relationship ain't so great and you're seeking out those kind of relationships elsewhere in the fantasy world. If you have a really robust, loving relationship, you don't need to seek that shit out in video games and fucking porn and all that other shit. It doesn't matter anymore once you have a significant other. You know what I mean? And so for me, I've definitely matured over the years. I've become a much different person than I used to be, all right? And I just don't care about that shit anymore. I'm not going to make that easy, lowbrow, low-hanging fruit sexual comment to get a rise out of my audience. I'm not going to do that kind of style of commentary because that's not who I am anymore. I've definitely matured and changed over the years for the better. And am I PC? Fuck no. I swear, I'll still be very honest. I rage at things, but at the very same time, you're not going to come here and be so perturbed at sexual content anymore. Admittedly, the years I say 2008 through like maybe 2013, that was a big thing. When it came to Phil, it was always about that. Now it ain't like that anymore. And it's very different. I think I have a different kind of viewer base now because it's not like that anymore, okay? So there you go. Dude, Frozen, no, and I'm not saying that either. He's like, yeah, but how old were you when you made those jokes? You weren't that young. I'm not saying it was that kind of a thing. I'm saying there's a difference between physical maturity and mental maturity. There are people out there that are 50 years old that are immature as fuck. You know what I mean? There are. Age is just a number. It's all about up here. At what point do you have the realization in your life, damn, here's how things are going, and I don't want things to be that frivolous and meaningless and stupid and just puerile anymore. I want to have something that's more robust, more intelligent, more meaningful, more mature in my life. I don't want my life to constantly be stupid jokes about sex and titties and shit. I want it to be something very important and different than that. When I sit down to do a gameplay stream today, we're going to enjoy a game, we're going to have fun conversation, we're going to have a good time together that's not based off of stupid, immature shit. You know what I mean? And that's a good thing that I can say that now. I love coming to work today. When I used to play a game, man, I got to find a way to make this boring-ass fucking game entertaining, so I just got to make stupid sexual comments the entire time I played the game. It was a chore. Now I actually get to enjoy what I do for a living. It's very different, okay? Ooh, excuse me. So there you go. So I would say it's a bit of a lot of factors. It's me getting older and maturing, me finally being in a meaningful relationship where I don't need to seek out those kind of immature, silly things in a virtual reality. I have a robust, loving relationship in real life where I don't have to find those things in a virtual world anymore. And yeah, also the fact that now I'm a full-time Twitch streamer. Twitch terms of service are, a lot more strict than, say, YouTube's when it comes to that kind of thing. If you're constantly making sexual comments about things all the time, chances are you're going to get in trouble for it. So it's like a combination of many factors all together to answer that question. Okay? All right. What's hilarious about all of this is that there's a bunch of people in the stream chat who understand and are like, okay, makes sense. And then there's other things here that people are saying, oh, that's so ridiculous, I don't understand. It's because you're not where I am yet in your life. You're not. You haven't reached the point where you're feeling like you want to move to the next stage of your life where things are more mature, where you have something meaningful like I have. You're not there yet. And I get it, because I wasn't there until the last maybe 2-3 years of my life where I realized, oh shit, things got to get better. This is stupid. You'll get there one day. Most people do. Some people never do. Some people never mature. Some people never get to that point in their head, and they're always this kind of like very ridiculous, immature. I gotta, that thing flies. It doesn't fly for me anymore. You know what I mean? Okay. Hidden Knife Hands did a 500-bit cheer asking about the console version of RPG Maker. How about a collaborative improvised art project? Do you think art is at its best when it's subversive or when it's entertaining? Is it the end result and the most important or the experience? There is no best. You're talking in absolutes. Like there's an absolute answer. There is none. It's subjective. It's all subjective. Just like I said earlier, some people will love narrative-based games, some people won't. They're just looking for gameplay, like gripping or challenging gameplay. It's completely different depending on the person. Everyone will always have a different perspective, and there's no definitive answer to your question at all. For me, there's times when I like one thing, there's times when I like something else, and I like the fact that I'm a diversified enough person to understand that and know that, I can like a narrative-based game, but I could also like a game like Dark Souls or Sekiro that's very gameplay focused, okay? As for RPG Maker, isn't that game ancient? RPG Maker, I swear, was like out 2 console generations ago. No, I'm not planning on making an RPG with my viewers or anything like that. So, if there was a modernized new version of RPG Maker, maybe I would consider it, but I'm not aware that even exists. All right, continuing on. The next question is from Straight Cash Homie, and he asked the following. Phil, longtime fan, I got a couple of quick questions for you. First off, what's your favorite Resident Evil game? They're my favorite playthroughs that you've done. And the second question is, will Kat join you for Halloween or Christmas streams? She's a genuinely good person. I know there's many toxic people on your streams. There's also good, true fans of yours like mine. First half of the question, favorite Resident Evil game? Resident Evil 1. It's always going to be Resident Evil 1. That's the one that put survival horror on the map. I would almost say single-handedly created the survival horror genre when it came to mainstream video games. Before then, there were horror games, but they were always like niche games you didn't really talk about, and they were brushed under the rug. It was really Resident Evil that made it, oh my god, horror can actually be entertaining and fun and mainstream, and it's taken seriously. So I'm going to say Resident Evil 1, okay? Okay? As for Kat being on the streams, you're asking the wrong person, because in reality, it's ultimately going to be her decision if and when she decides ever to come back on my streams. If she wants to make a special guest appearance during a holiday special, or she just wants to poke her head in every once in a while and say hello, that's completely and utterly up to her. I don't pressure her whatsoever to ever do that, because I want it to be her own decision. And I feel that's the only fair way to do it. I wouldn't want to pressure her to do something she feels uncomfortable doing. She has her own life and things completely outside of my work. That's a good thing, that it doesn't cross over to the point where now we're both inundated completely. Our whole lives are just about what I do on stream. Maybe there'll be a time when she comes on stream. Maybe there won't be. I don't know. And that's up to her. Again, that's up to her. So her choice. And, that's all I have to say about that. There's really nothing else to say. That's all I have to say about that. Okay? Ron Jambo tipped me $1. Said, when is the last time you cried? I have no recollection. More than likely, it was probably like watching a movie or something. But there you go. But I really don't have a recollection. Okay. Excuse me. The next question is from Richie H. Richie H asks the following. He says, I've seen mentioned by a few people lately, but I haven't actually heard your actual opinion on it. Have you thought about changing the times that you stream? You said the majority of your viewers are in the US, but you stream at the same times when the majority of people are working or at their jobs. You have the ability to be fairly flexible, so why not move your schedule 3 hours later? There's more overlap with people actually being able to watch after work and more people relaxing at night to Twitch streams. Actually, the truth of the matter here, all right, is that I used to stream later. Right now, my streams start around 10 a.m. I used to stream between 12 and 1 p.m. Yeah, I used to stream later. I used to stream till around, I end at 4 now. I used to stream till like 5:30. My late streams used to actually be late streams. Like, I used to stream, I believe it was between 9-10 p.m. For a couple hours. They used to be very different. When I first moved here from the East Coast, my streaming schedule was 100% different. And over time, I got completely the opposite feedback that I got from you right now. People told me the streams are too late, too many people miss out. In fact, it was actually the European audience who were like, Phil, we can never catch your streams. Your streams are super late for us. There's no way that we can catch your streams. It sucks because we're your fans, but when you stream, we can never catch it live. We have to watch it on YouTube instead. So what I ended up doing was I actually scaled back my streams. The other thing was that stream schedule completely screwed up my life, being very honest. There were nights that I was up till 4, 5, 6 in the morning, and I would some days sleep till like 11, 12, and then get up to stream right after that. So because of that, my whole life schedule was weird and skewed. So I would have a day off. Oh my God, now I can't, what do I do? Get up early for my day off? No, so my whole day off, I wouldn't even be like in line with going out one day for when businesses were open and shit. It was very messed up in my opinion. It was about 2 years ago that I said, I need to change my life for the better. And it was last year when I pulled my streams back even further. So now I'm in line with a normal human schedule. I wake up between 8 and 9 a.m. I get ready for stream, have a breakfast, spend time with my wife. I stream for several hours. I take a break for dinner time. I stream again. When I have a normal day, I'm up at a normal hour. I could go out and do stuff with my wife when stuff is open. You know what I mean? Like, if I were to change my streams just for U.S. audience, it actually would cut off my entire European viewer base, and it would screw my life up again. Because that's how I used to be. I used to have those time frames for streaming, and people told me those are bad. You need to change those to be better. So I did. I pulled them back. Okay? So, that's the truth of the matter is, I don't know if changing it to just be more for a U.S. audience would help at all. And the other thing which you got to remember, I do record everything it is on demand on YouTube. I don't think there's ever going to be a perfect time frame to stream. Even now, today, even with the streams pulled back, my European audience still complains they can almost never catch the late streams because of the time of them. So, it is what it is. I don't think there's a perfect time, because I have a worldwide audience. There's no perfect time frame for me to stream that's going to catch everybody. You know what I mean? I think what I've done, the changes I made in the past couple of years actually did benefit me more. So, there you go. I mean, I definitely have not heard much at all in the realm of the past couple of years. Oh, Phil, your stream times are off. Change them or anything like that. Okay? All right. Kill Bill has 2 questions. How long are we into this episode? Okay. Kill Bill has 2 questions, everybody. First question from Kill Bill. I'm not sure what your opinions are about Google Stadia, but I think it's sort of a ripoff. Full price games, plus you have to pay a monthly fee just to play on any device. I originally thought that it was going to be like Netflix, but for gaming, which would have been so much better. What are your thoughts on it? Are you going to sign up? Yeah, apparently from what they're saying, the way this Google Stadia is going to work is you have to pay the monthly fee. So essentially, you're not buying a game console, but you're paying a monthly rental fee. Imagine if you didn't own your PS4 Pro, but instead every month you had to pay $20 to use it, right? Then you buy the games too. So now I'm paying $20 a month, plus I now have to buy the game for $60, right? Now, from what I'm also to understand, there's going to be games that will be included in the subscription model. So there will be some games you will just get to play for free, but if you want to play the hot new releases, you're going to have to buy them. At least that's from what I'm to understand. So I don't know, I don't know 100%. I think what we need is, once it's actually out and we get the options actually laid out on paper in front of us, just here's what it is, here's your options, here's what you can do, then we can comment. I think now we're hearing things up front early. These things could change on a whim. We might not even have a full understanding of the system yet. For me, I'm skeptical because I don't even believe it's going to work. I seriously don't even believe the system will work, because I don't think we have internet good enough for live streaming of gameplay. You know what I mean? Like, right now, in my home, I have a wireless network set up, okay? And trying to play my PS Vita downstairs, which is basically streaming off my PS4 upstairs, the whole thing conks out, lags up, chops up, drops frequently. Can't even do it from upstairs to fucking downstairs, all right? Trying to stream sometimes, games, if you have a game that's a stream, good luck. You have to wait for 80% of the game to be installed on your console before you can even play the game, because we're not there yet. You know what I mean? Google is claiming that they've somehow got this new proprietary streaming technology that's going to make it viable for us to just stream games without pre-downloading and stuff. I don't believe it. I'm sorry. I'm very fucking skeptical. You know, I haven't seen Google do a damned fucking thing that innovated in years. Google Glass was going to change everything. Who the fuck has a Google Glass now? Oh my God, look at all the things Google done. Google had their Google Plus service that was supposed to be like Facebook. And, you know, all these things Google has done that were utter failures. I seriously don't feel that the internet is where it's going to be good enough at all to do this. I could be completely fucking wrong, but that's my feeling, is that they're going to launch this service, and for the first 2 months, everyone's going to be complaining, I can't get the games. The games are laggy, the games buffer, the games look like shit. You know what I mean? This is, why am I paying for a service that's garbage? And that's what I feel is going to happen. Essentially what you're going to have is people are like, well, I could play the game on launch day, no problem, because I have an Xbox, you know, or I have a PlayStation, or I have a Switch. And then people were like, fuck, look at all these problems launch week, you know. So let's see what happens, you know. But I can't, there's real no way to comment on it until it's out, we see how it works, and we actually have the definitive pricing and everything laid out in front of us. We don't have any of that yet, okay? A little too early to comment. Kill Bill also asked, I know that you talk about the lack of income, but have you ever been a fan of gambling back in the day? Did you ever visit Atlantic City when you were on the East Coast? What's your game of choice? My personal favorite is blackjack. Never went to Atlantic City. I actually was going to do it. There was a 1 year before YouTube and all that. I was going to actually, for like the first time in years, celebrate my birthday, because I almost never celebrate my birthday, seriously. Like, I always, for whatever reason, I'm too busy or something. So there was 1 year in the mid-2000s when I was going to take my Street Fighter buddies, and we were all going to go to Atlantic City for my birthday, and I had the money all saved up for it, where I was going to get a hotel room, and we were going to kind of split the cost, and we were going to gamble and have fun and drink and do this fun stuff. And the week before it happened, 3 of my friends canceled. I was like, well, I guess we're not going. Okay? So, no, I've never been to Atlantic City. I've been to 2 different casinos, Foxwoods and Mohegan Sun, both of which are in Connecticut. They're both casinos owned by Native Americans, you know, on like a Native American reservation or whatever. And at a casino, I've done a few things. The first thing that I did, also I've been to Vegas, obviously. I went to Vegas many times for EVO, and I did some gambling there, okay? The one thing I've ever done gambling was, slots is huge. Everyone does slots, you know, easy to do, not complicated, also the way to burn through your money. I played blackjack, and blackjack's very fun, but when you're playing with real money, you got to be careful. And that's it. I've only done blackjack and slots. That's the only 2 things I've ever done at a casino. But the casinos I went to had a lot. They had poker rooms. They had Keno. They had like a lot of various different things. But I focused primarily just on blackjack and slots. What's the highest amount I ever lost on blackjack? Probably a few $100s. You know, nothing major. I never really spent a ton of money at a casino. I never really had a ton of money to blow, quite frankly. So what's my game of choice? It would be blackjack. That would be my answer to that. Okay. How are we doing? Okay, we're 45 minutes in. You know what? I think this is a good opportunity. Let's take our second break. Let's take about a 10-15 minute break, and when we come back, I'll be doing the final questions. These will be Twitter questions, and I'll be fielding questions from the stream chat. Okay? So let's thank you everyone so far. Great stream. Let's take our break of the stream, and then I'll be back in about 10-15 minutes on stream with the third and final part of Ask the King. If you're watching on YouTube, there's just going to be a third part for you to watch separate from this video. Okay, guys, thank you so much. I'll be back in a few minutes with more. All right, guys, see you in a bit.